What is up, everybody? Back with another top 10 video here. And once again, I'm joined by Nick Franco from Sea of Tranquility and CrypticRock.com. Nick, what is up, dude? Thanks a lot for coming back on here.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to this. I like getting to be on your videos. They're just getting better and better. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. So today we are each going to be counting down our top 10 albums from 2007. Pretty good year. I'm sure Nick's going to have some pretty cool obscure stuff that are going to be some great recommendations. So we're going to kick things off with his number 10.
All right. So after much deliberation, I decided to go with one of Greece's finest bands in Rotting Christ.
Okay.
Yep. And their 2007 album, Theogonia, which it's the last Rotting Christ album I've ever really fallen in love with.
We were talking about Iced Earth.
Yeah, we were before
we recorded. So.
Yeah, those names sound so much alike. But yeah, this is a great album, and it's really one of the most creative and like heavy yet thought-provoking albums that Rotting Christ has done. And there's so many good songs on it. Kivernitos. Mm-hmm. Why can't I just like American bands?
It's hard pronunciations here.
Yeah, but Enuma Elish, Phobos Synagogue, the whole album, He the Aether, Helios Hyperion, they really knocked it out of the park. So number 10 is definitely Rotting Christ, Theogonia.
Awesome. So my number 10 is going to be Metal by Annihilator. So Annihilator, of course, every time I mention them, I think they're super unfairly hated on for their post Set the World on Fire albums. I think they've got a ton of great material up through the mid-90s, mid-2000s, up to now even. But Metal is a pretty cool album here. You know, it's got Jeff Waters there shredding it up, who's one of the best guitar players of all time, in my opinion. This one does feature, or it has Mike Mangini on the drums. It's amazing freaking drummer, some awesome, fast, great drumming all over this. Dave Padden is the guy that was singing on it, doing rhythm guitar. His voice can take some getting used to. I can see why people might not like it, but I think it's good enough. And some of the standout tracks on this album I'd say are Clown Parade, which is a cool one. I think it's the opening song, Kicked, Operation Annihilation, and Chasing the High. But overall, it's Annihilator. Jeff Waters is there shredding it up. So it's got to make my list here at number 10, Metal.
Awesome. And I'm going over from Greece to Germany with the pagan black metal band Hellrunner. And their second album called Balder och Is. Again, nothing English. And they are this album is very much enslaved worship, I would say, from the album Frost. There's a lot of influence from that era, but they definitely took things in their own direction. They got a little bit of folk presence on the album. But overall, just a really strong, super fast, creative kind of black metal album, but one that I think has crossover appeal into other genres. So Hellrunner from Germany. Standout tracks are Loka Log Saga, which really sounds like the Frost album from Enslaved, but taken in this German new direction, and Balder, and a song called Hunta and Boga. All these songs tend to be about Norse mythology, so Germanic Norse mythology. So really, really well done stuff. Great, vicious album.
Cool. I've never heard of them. I'm gonna have to check that out.
You probably like them.
Cool. So my number 9, I'm gonna go with Dominator by Wasp. Another one of my all-time favorite bands here. I just love Blackie Lawless's voice. I think he's got one of the best and most unique voices of all time. I rank him top 10. Wasp, one of my top 10 favorite bands. This album, even though it's kind of I'd rank towards the back half of their discography, it's still freaking great. It's got Doug Blair on it, who's their current lead guitarist, the first album with him, and I think he's a good player. A lot of great solos on this album. Some of the standout tracks, Mercy, The Burning Man, which is just awesome. I think Blackie is just a master at coming up with awesome vocal melodies and harmonies and freaking choruses. All of it's great. And Heaven's Hung in Black is a really cool kind of dark ballad type song, just kind of slower one, which is really kind of creepy and haunting, kind of has a dark feel to it. But yeah, Dominator, cool album, my number 9.
Nice. Yeah, Wasp is one of those bands I think a lot of people heard of and fewer people have actually heard.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the name is out there, but yeah,
they've got a lot of really good albums. And actually, those first two I mentioned, it's actually the anniversary of those. Both came out April 16th. 2007, which is the day we're recording this year. I don't know if it'll be up on April 16th, but
it is now. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
That's cool. That's awesome. So for my number 8, I'm going back to Greece. Pretty good year for Greece. And the band is one that I admit I didn't know of in 2007, but in subsequent times I've gotten into them. And this was their debut album. The band is called Ravencult, and the album is called Temples of Torment. And it's in the black metal realm, but it's very thrashy, and just a really, really immediate storm of an album. And highlights tracks, the Sigil of Baphomet, Onslaught Command. Really, the whole thing doesn't let up. It's very, very good, well done. And a couple of the guys in the band, they are from other bands in Greece, but none as well known as maybe like Rotting Christ. There's one guy that played for Varathron, is another Greek band. So Temples of Torment, Ravencult, the debut album, definitely worth checking out. Really, really heavy black and thrash, very groovy though.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to get on that. I have not heard them, but I already know they're better than the Raven Age.
Yeah,
gotta throw some slack at the Iron Maiden needs to stop touring with them with the shit. Okay. But all right, so my number 8, I'm gonna go with some black metal here. I'm gonna go with the album Revelation, the Seventh Seal by Lord Belial. Talk about these guys a lot. Great Swedish black metal band, one of my favorites from Sweden for sure. This is their second most recent album. I think they had another one come out in 2008, but so pretty recent or in their discography. They haven't released much after this, but it's great stuff. Looking at the songs, Ancient Splendor, amazing. Just the guitar melodies throughout the whole album, and especially the song, are freaking awesome. Aghast, Unspoken Veneration, some of the standout tracks, but yeah, some of the best black metal, I think, Lord Belial has. And yeah, great album, Revelation, Seventh Seal, number 8.
Definitely good choice. Yes. So for number 7, this is probably my last like really obscure one that I'm gonna have to take pains to explain, but it's worth it. The band is called Drawtran, Drautran, Drawtran, and the album is called Throne of the Depths. They are from Germany. This is the only album, I believe, that they've ever made. And it is, I discovered it quite by accident pretty recently, and it's something that it's once you start listening to it, it's just gets better and better. I would say it's kind of like that hyper frenetic black metal with a heavy keyboard wash and screaming, howling, shrieking vocals. If you like Hecate Enthroned, some early Cradle of Filth, and that French band Anorexia Nervosa, they remind me of them. Really creative songwriting though, because some of the songs there's definitely some quieter moments, and they again, it's the way they weave the elements in. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the songs, but yeah, they're really talented, and I wish they had done more. And the singer, who just calls himself Blutar, or I think his real name is George Schultz. That's a lot better to say. Mm-hmm. He's in a band called Arstidir Lifsins, which I'm fairly certain is Icelandic, and they do a lot of like Norse mythology type metal. So I was kind of surprised to see that connection there. But something I think you would dig.
Oh yeah, I love Hecate Enthroned and Cradle. So
yeah, they have that kind of atmosphere. Really, really the Washington atmosphere, really good. So that's my number 7, Drawtran.
Cool. All right, so my number 7 is going to be the Atrocity Exhibition Exhibit A by Exodus. I'm keeping it with the bigger bands here, not going quite as obscure as you, but yeah, Exodus, of course, great classic thrash metal, some of the heaviest, most brutal thrash like around, I think. Great stuff. Rob Dukes on vocals, I think, was really good for the band. They've had several singers, but I like the Dukes era stuff. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good albums there. I think Shovelheaded Kill Machine is their best album from 2005. Oh, yeah. I rank that number 1 in my ranking of them. But of course, Gary Holt and Lee Altus, fantastic duo. Tom Hunting on the drums is a machine, which I recently just saw. I think he got diagnosed with like some form of cancer, so hopefully he can overcome that. But yeah, some of the standout tracks on here: Riot Act, Funeral Hymn, Children of a Worthless God, just really good stuff, top to bottom for the most part. Exhibit A by Exodus.
Yeah, I remember that album getting really good. I got to give that stuff more of a chance. I kind of was so getting into black metal that I kind of like forgot about some of that stuff.
Yeah, freaking Shovelheaded Kill Machine especially, dude. I would recommend to go back to that one. That's brutal and heavy as hell.
I remember when that came out, I was like, whoa. I was like,
oh yeah.
heavy as fuck. Great. Number 666. We're definitely going with Inquisition, Nefarious Dismal Orations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, you've talked about them a lot on this channel.
Oh yeah.
Dagon and Incubus, the two-headed monster. Frog vocals. Oh god, so good. Ancient Monumental War Hymn, Enter the Cult, Strike of the Morning Star. These are some of the best black metal songs you'll hear. And god damn, they're amazing, right? There's that pummeling, and then they get like real spacey. They mix that spaciness with that pummeling in a way that just so good.
So good. Yeah. Cool. So my number 6 is my like super obscure pick for the list, and I got the freaking Metal page up here to look because I don't know much about these guys, to be honest, but this album is sick. It's called Fimble Vitner by a band called Crato from Ukrainian black metal band here. I think, have you heard of these guys?
I haven't. Well, how do you spell it?
Kroda.
Nope. Yeah, I haven't heard them. And I like Ukrainian bands. So
yeah, I think Ukraine has like a super unique sound, kind of you hear like with a lot of the bands, but just based off the cover, I think you would think it looks cool and something you'd like. It's like an icy landscape with like a stream, and it's a blue cover, so you know it's going to be some cool stuff there. And some of the freaking tracks, you know, Glacial Riders of Fimble Vitner, Funeral of the Sun, A Storm Ride. So, you know, just epic songs. The melodies are great. There's some really cool, like, unique instruments mixed in there. Like, there's a flute kind of in there that fits pretty well with the song. I don't know what the instrument's called, but there's one that sounds like Australian outback, like, thing you hear when...
Mouth harp?
Probably that. Yeah, it's some of that mixed in there, which sounds super cool. But, yeah, awesome stuff that I think is just a really good, cool find that I got going through some, like, giant list of albums trying to put this list together. Crato, Fimble Vitner, my number 6.
I'm going to check that out because it sounds like it's right in my
I think you definitely like it a lot.
Right in the wheelhouse. All right. Excellent. We're into the top 5. So I'm going over to Finland to the black metal band Horna. And they put out 2 albums that year, but this album is called Sota Hutto, which means war cry. And of course, the mainstay in the band, Shoutrog, is the very strange and mysterious band leader. And this album was kind of their tribute to Bathory. It was actually written right before Watan died, and then they released it in 2007. And it's amazing how punky this album is. It's like really punk hardcore mixed with black metal. People might yell at me for that. I don't know. That's what it fucking sounds like to me. So it's all in Finnish, but it's so brutal and so catchy, and it's really a gem. So I gotta say, check out Horna, Sota Hutto.
Awesome. So my number 5, another black metal band. I'm gonna go with Sworn to the Dark by Watan.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, awesome stuff. I think this is probably their best album. Really just that opening song, Legions of the Black Light. So good. I'd say probably their best song, just when it kind of transitions into that main riff, just super thrashy and raw and amazing. But I got the cool vinyl here.
Nice. That was in my honorables for sure.
Oh yeah, so Satan's Hunger, another cool one. Really top to bottom, a lot of great stuff here. Just another great friggin' Swedish black metal band. There's a ton of them from over there, and Sworn to the Dark.
Have you seen them live?
I have not. I told the story. I think I told it to you. Remember, I went to the Destroyer 666 show. I my brother doesn't like super extreme. He likes classic, like friggin' Judas Priest, stuff like that. It doesn't really go into like the black metal as much. So I'm like, hey, Destroyer 666 is kind of like classic thrash mixed with some black metal. Let's go. Like, I didn't really tell him about Watan. I'm like, we'll leave before the headlining band plays, and I was gonna try to get him to stay, but he's like, no way. So we ended up leaving.
I hope you get to see them. I saw them in 2019 in Portugal at the Vagos Metal Festival, and the entire stage was on fire. There was so much fire.
Oh yeah, I definitely saw like they had all this crazy stage stuff like set up, like about to come on, and I don't know. I should have made them stay, but yeah, Sworn to the Dark, great album. That's mine, number 5.
Excellent album. Cool. So number 4, I am going over to Norway, and the band is called Teldom. And you may not have heard of Teldom, but I know you've heard of Horna.
I know Teldom.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know Charles.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, I
cool.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What a great. They made like three of them, and this one is called Till Mina. I meant to look up what the hell that means, but it means to something. And it's of course the main man of old of Gorgoroth, Gaul, and you're not going to find. It's one of the best iterations of black metal I've ever heard. Gaul's voice is just the man is just possessed. He's on another level, and songs like "From It Gamla," "Vinternacht," the long 10-minute plus epic called "Steg." This is just some of the most incredible Norwegian black metal you'll ever hear. I think it's quite accessible. If you can accept the crazy vocals, you got some good headbanging shit right there. So Teldom, number 4.
Sweet. So my number 4, I'm going to go with the Inner Sanctum by Saxon. Just killer band. Another one of my all-time favorites. Came up new wave of British heavy metal there in the early 80s, and I would almost argue that the 10-year run they went on from Unleash the Beast in 97 to this album here, The Inner Sanctum in 2007, there's so many great albums there, and this one is freaking awesome. Like the opening song, which is called State of Grace, is super dark, sets the atmosphere of the album. Just, one of their best songs of all time, honestly. Biff Byford sounds awesome. Paul Quinn is a great guitar player. Some other standouts, Need for Speed is a really kind of fast speed metal type song. Let Me Feel Your Power is a really good heavy one. Just awesome album here. The Inner Sanctum, number 4.
Excellent, man. Classic fan.
Oh yeah.
Wicked. I'm staying in Norway, number 3. The band is Vride, and the album is I Krig, and it's all in Norwegian. Vride is the band that came out of the ashes of the band Windy, classic pagan black metal band with just from Sogndal, Norway, a very picturesque and history-laden part of central Norway, I think. And a lot of mountains, a lot of beauty there, and the music reflects all of that and all that history. So after their singer died tragically, the others in the band kept it going, but they called it Pride. This is the 3rd album they made under that name, and it's got the style that they adopted they call it black and roll. So as you can imagine, it's got some pretty traditional metal foundations to the songs with like the black metal vocals. I think you would love it, and I think a lot of your people that watch you on the show would love it if they haven't heard it yet. Standout tracks Under Isen, Svart, which means black, and Folkafiendar and Thangagard. I work on these things, see? I can say that. Really, really well done shit. I think you would absolutely very, very, again, underrated, like you were saying before about Annihilator. In terms of European metal, I even though Windier has a lot of people's respect, I think Vride is still not as beloved as they should be. So that's my number 3, Vride.
Cool. Okay, so my number 3 is Nefarious Dismal Orations. I think we talked about before, like we'll have at least one. Is this the one you thought I would have?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just Inquisition is amazing. My favorite black metal band of all time. Dagon, such a freaking amazing guitar tone. His voice, so good and unique. Just the riffs are so amazing. Freaking that Ancient Monumental War Hymn, that opening track, dude, so good. Like, just crazy. But, and of course, Incubus on the drums, I think, is one of the great black metal drummers. Just a freaking machine back there on the drums. As you said, the songs you mentioned are great. Infernal Evocation of Torment, Enter the Cult, just really top to bottom. It's a great album. Even though I think in my discography ranking, I ranked this like 5th or 6th. Just they have super consistent, great band. I mean, so I love most of their albums. But yeah, this one's here at number 3 for me. Nefarious Dismal Orations. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and there's something special about Incubus's drumming that I cannot explain because I only read it once. I'm not a musician, but he does something different. The way he plays like the blast beat is different. Musician people, please chime in the comments what that might be. But it's something he does, and when you realize it,
he's great. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely. All right. So for the number 2, I promise I'm not going to go off for 20 minutes and go nuts, but the 2 albums, the 2 bands I'm about to mention, well, when it's time for number 1, these are 2 of my favorite musical entities ever. So these albums could probably flip-flop, but today, for whatever reason, for number 2, we're going with Primordial. To the Nameless Dead. I don't think I can possibly convey how much I love this band. Do you know them? Do you know their music?
I've heard you mention them. I have not listened to them. I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, that's why we do this.
Yeah.
Learn. I don't think there's anything you wouldn't like about them. It's like super epic. Like he grew up. The band leader is Alan Averill. He's one of the best vocalists, and so you got some really clear, like epic, heartfelt vocals on it, and long, dismal songs about history and war and all kinds of struggle and inner strife and all that stuff. So it's definitely bleak, but it rocks. Empire Falls, great song. Failure's Burden. Heathen Tribes is one of the best songs ever written. And it's just about his travels around the world. And then the lyrics are all about like being in different places, and then the way he pulls it all together, it's a climactic song. This is really epic heavy metal. It's hard to classify. I mean, it's got some doom, some traditional metal, some black metal. It's one of the most immersive and incredible albums you'll ever hear. To the Nameless Dead could be number one. Today it's number two. But they are from Dublin, Ireland, and this was their sixth album.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a band not to take lightly and not to miss. Primordial.
You make a good case. I'll have to definitely check them out.
You're all right.
Yeah, but okay. So my number two is going to be "Give Me Your Soul, Please" by King Diamond. The most recent King Diamond album, they've been saying they're going to put an album out for freaking like 2 years now, but still hasn't come out. But if it's anywhere close to as good as this, I'll be happy. Just King sounds awesome. I think, of course, he's like the master of making you feel like you're watching a horror movie. It's such that great freaking atmosphere, dark, amazing. Andy LaRocque and Mike Weed on guitar, fantastic. Some of the standout tracks, you got Never Ending Hill, Black of Night is awesome. The Cellar, the title track is great. The Floating Head, probably my favorite, just amazing riff. But yeah, this is a freaking awesome album. Give Me Your Soul, Please. King Diamond, number two.
Awesome. Can't mess with the King.
Oh yeah, dude. One of the most unique voices, one of the best voices in metal.
Yeah, and those musicians that he surrounds himself with are just top notch.
Oh yeah,
incredible. So number one time, eh? So anyone who watches the other shows I'm on knows my love for Amorphous from Finland. So Silent Waters, it's one of my favorite albums ever in my friggin' life. Tommy Utzon on vocals. He was just getting himself really, really acclimated to the band. This is the second album they did with him. And his vocal range, because he can do clean vocals so beautifully and he can growl, it kind of opened up every possibility for them. Every song is great. The title track, Towards and Against, Enigma, Shaman, Black River, the bonus track. Amorphous writes incredible bonus tracks. I don't even know why they're bonus tracks, because they're amazing. And this one is amazing. It's called Sign. Catchy melodic death metal, but that doesn't do them justice. They're like regular metal. If you just like metal, if you like hard, like this will really appeal to almost any taste within the spectrum of metal. It's one of the best albums I've ever heard. I listen to it all the time. Silent Waters, Amorphous, my number one album of 2007.
Sweet. So with my number one, I think anyone that's been following my channel kind of see this one coming. It's by my favorite band, Megadeth, United Abominations. I love almost everything Megadeth has done. There's a few that are a little weaker than others, of course, but this one, I think, in the past, I ranked it their sixth best. They got 15 albums, so sixth best album from your favorite band. It's pretty good to you. So, and I don't know if people can see. I'll take this out of the case. I got it signed by the Drover brothers. They played like a local thing. I don't know if you can see that, but it's signed by Sean and Glenn.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Dave Mustaine, I think his voice sounded really good at this point. And then, of course, it kind of dropped off in some years to come there. But I think he sounds great on this. You got James Lomenzo on bass, who was in the band on a couple albums. He was in White Lion in the 80s is there. So White Lion bass player coming over to Megadeth, which is kind of cool. But Sleepwalker to open it up is great. Washington is Next is one of my top 10 favorite Megadeth songs of all time. Just amazing stuff there. Never Walk Alone, such a great riff to open that one up. the title track, Gears of War. Really could just list all these songs. Burnt Ice, You're Dead, Americistan. Of course, this album, Dave Mustaine's going off politically, which is interesting to hear. And yeah, Play for Blood. The Atout Le Monde like remake is like the one thing I could like do without. I don't really care for that, but rest of the album is freaking fantastic. United Abominations, my number one of 2007.
Nice. I think Megadeth did a lot better job at keeping themselves relevant than his first band did.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely a lot more consistent band. I would agree.
More creative, more vital. Without a doubt.
Cool. So some honorable mentions if you got any.
Oh yes. So we'll go with the really weird one that's hard to say first. Thrud Vanguard from Germany. Thrud Vanguard. Basically Bathory Warship. The album is Zwischer, Asgard und Midgard. It's good shit. Svartsen, Timeless Rain, Swedish black metal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you love them. Yeah, that's a great album. Gospel of the Horns, the album's Realm of the Damned, really great black and thrash. And over to my own New York's own Immolation, Shadows in the Light. I think that was a really good Immolation album. That's all I got.
Cool. So, I mean, as you said, the Svartsen album, honorable mention for me. You know, as we were doing the video, I remembered one, which, I mean, it's like on the edge of hard rock and metal, but it's by another one of my favorites, Ted Nugent, Love Grenade. I think was a really good album for like being late in his career. Some really good, like pretty heavy hard rock and stuff on there. Some more stuff I wrote down. The Ice to Earth album from that year's, it's okay. I mean, Overkill. Yeah. Overkill's album from that year, decent enough for an honorable mention, I'd say. Sodom had an album that was pretty good. 3 Inches of Blood, Fire Up the Blades. I mean, I have a lot of stuff written down that I was like, honestly, Goat Moon, pretty good. Yeah. Agent Steel had an album. Obituary. There's a lot of bands freaking released albums. Halloween, Marduk, Dimmu Borgir. But
yeah, I almost put. I was thinking about Halloween. My first list I made had the Marduk album.
Yeah.
And Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, just as always, every year freaking has a ton of great stuff, so it's hard to limit this stuff down. But yeah, man, that was awesome. Thanks a lot for coming back on.
I appreciate it. Have me anytime. I enjoy it very much. Thank you.
No problem. And everybody, let us know what you thought. Give us your lists in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching.